Hello and welcome to another ICA Sports and Fitness Science podcast. I'm Dr. Brant Hulsebus coming at you here with another one of our board members and a good friend of mine, Dr. Joe Amunategui II. And we've been talking a lot about chiropractic technique. Part of what we're doing with our councils, we are going to come to your state association. We're going to come to your conferences. We're going to put together a couple of hours of education so you can earn a certificate that you are a sports chiropractor certified by the ICA Sports and Fitness Science Council. And so Dr. Joe here has put together some technique. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about this technique. But if you want to see more, he's actually uploaded a whole video of him taking care of a patient with some leg issues. And you can go to the ICA website or the YouTube if you're listening to this. If you're watching it, you're all set. But if you're listening to this, go on to the ICA's website, go to the ICA Sports and Science Fitness Council page, and there you'll see our blogs and our posts, and you can watch the whole video. So Dr. Joe, you talked a lot about in your video the ability to adjust someone today and have them immediately go back to play and not need a couple of days of recovery. Could you talk more on this topic for us, please?
Absolutely. And thanks for having me here today. It's always a pleasure to see you. So, for me, uh, like many of us that are dealing with professional athletes and amateurs and the whole gamut, they need to be out there. If we're there at their specific sport, we're going to definitely be making sure that they're going to get out there and do their best and optimal performance. And I've had people that were completely injured and they weren't going to be able to go on, and they end up winning the entire tournament, whether it's World's Strongest Man or professional power lifters, runners, tennis players, boxers. I used to work with Angelo Dundee when he was in Fort Lauderdale with his boxers back when he was alive. That's how long I've been doing it. And, a couple of guys on ESPN as well as ringside at several boxing matches. So, there's a gamut that opens up for chiropractors that professional athletes are very knowledgeable about what we do and what we're able to do and how it can enhance their sport.
Well, recently I did a podcast and got to go to Madison with Dr. Todd McDougall, and he was showing me that he used a lot of short level, high velocity adjustments using drop tables, a Thompson table, and the Thule table and stuff like that. Now, I noticed that's something you've incorporated also in your adjustment. Now, do you find that that's a real benefit to the athlete versus, say, a Gonstead side posture or a cervical chair or something like that?
Absolutely. And that's why Dr. McDougall and myself both use the drop tables, especially at events. And the Thule table's one of the best for sure. I have a Lloyd table that's a portable drop as well, and depends what sport I'm going to. The bigger the person, the thicker the table you need. But of course, the drop is going to take out a lot of the pressure on the tissue that you're adjusting into. So not only does it help you as a doctor because you're not wrecking your shoulders, which a lot of the young chiropractors don't know is a possibility yet, because like myself, they were all invincible when they first got into practice and in their prime. But as you get older, you definitely need to take care of your body as well as the patient's. So if you're not causing as much force into the patient, guess what? You're not doing that on your joints either. And so that's great for your wrist, your elbows, your shoulders. And that's where chiropractors generally are going to all have situations as they get older if they don't incorporate proper techniques, not only for their patients, but for themselves as well.
I think that's an advantage that you and I both have is both of our fathers practice chiropractic too. And we got to kind of watch to see what happened to their bodies as they wore down. Like, I think when I'm my dad's age and I'm living on the beach or in the mountains somewhere, I think I want to be able to enjoy myself. So coming up with techniques that don't destroy the chiropractor is very important, especially for the patient's sake too.
Absolutely. And, like yourself, I watched my dad with his shoulders, and he was like your dad, coming from the chiropractic realm from the 1950s and early 60s where, you went in there and you did an adjustment and the person knew they were adjusted. I mean, I remember like when somebody else adjusted me for the first time, like they didn't do anything. I was like, what are you going to put any power into that or what are you going to do, And like later on, I found out that, there's other techniques that also help. And
Yeah.
so when I got into the drop work, and of course, Pierce and Thompson were both big advocates, as well as Kale. There's a lot of doctors that have incorporated drop into their technique, and so I've also done that as well as Dr. Todd. And you're going to see, well, you already know, but the people that are joining us are going to see that most of these chiropractors that are on the board right now have come up with a combination and a compilation of eating at the chiropractic buffet, I call it, and learning all the different techniques and then incorporating and bringing their own to the table. So that's what I've done with my technique, which I have been calling chiroathletica, because of the idea that Dr. Gratelli and myself had come up with, and Dr. McDougall's part of that as well. So it's really fun that we get to bring all our techniques to the new doctors and say, look, this is a great way to bring care to your patients that's not going to be as invasive as some of the older techniques. But at the same time, it's truly powerful enough to get a 430-pound man back out into the workforce, his workforce on stage doing what he does. And that's really important. I mean, I don't have to tell you, you've been working with professional athletes most of your life, right? As well as I. So it's really, we got a
Oh
real
yeah.
great advantage watching our fathers and seeing the amount of humility, humbleness that they bring to the table as they worked on so many high visibility people in their lives. So I
Well,
don't want to go
one
into
thing I found too
stories,
is
but
well,
I'd love to. You know what I mean? But I don't want to
I
take it.
I got lucky because I came back here after doing some adjusting styles like you did in your video, which I hope people get to find this online and watch it and see you work with the patient. But I actually got to apply this to more than an athlete because we talk a lot about the fact that your adjustment really focuses on getting the bone to get adjusted, but at the same time, it's also increasing the stability. So I had a
Absolutely.
78-year-old retired nurse who's taking care of her husband who is having all kinds of lower back problems. And so I use this technique, not the same force I did with the strongman, right? But I use the
Absolutely.
same science and the same adjusting and the angles. And she couldn't be happier that she's able to
Mhm.
take care of her husband now and do things. And so it's been neat that this you learn on the athletes and you learn how to apply it to your everyday patients. You find that to be true too. I'm absolutely sure.
Yes, I've had the unbelievable privilege of working with probably about, in my 30 plus years of practice, probably about 15 people that were 95 and over, to
Yeah.
100-year-old lady who first sang on broadcast TV in New York, and the big deal was to get it over the mountains into the Catskills. And if they did that, NBC was going to buy the camera system. I mean, these people have such great history, and we're so privileged to work with them and give them the vitality that they deserve at 100 years old. And they're still driving themselves to our practice because of chiropractic care and really a lifestyle based on
Absolutely.
health and wellness. I was on stage one time with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I said to him, he was giving an achievement award to Franco Colombo before he passed, and Franco Colombo and and Arnold were great friends since they came to the United States together back in the late '60s, early '70s, and I was into it as a young child because my dad was into strongman stuff himself and he would lay on his stomach and pick up a couch by the one leg, and he was into blowing up the hot water bottles and all that stuff. And it was really fun to grow up with those old time strongmen, you know, type things. So anyway, we were watching the bodybuilding because my father was into weightlifting as well. And at that time, it wasn't popular. And one of the announcers and reporters was interviewing Franco Colombo, which became a chiropractor. He was in school for chiropractic at that time, and he ended up being on the board of the California, Chiropractic Association, as well as trailblazer in bodybuilding. So as well as it goes, I'm watching this show, and Arnold is gets interviewed, and then they go to Franco, and they said to him, they said, "So you had to stop school and for this contest, and you took off a semester." And Franco said, "Yes, it's very important to me, and I took off the semester from school." And they said, "Well, I hear you're in school to be a doctor," and he said, "Yes, I am." And this is in 1972. And so they were into the impression that weightlifting made you stupid, right? And they were like, "Are you using these dumbbells and they're making you dumb? Is that why you can't go to school?" And they're like, and Franco Colombo was from, Italy, a small island off of Italy and Sardinia. And he was like not great with his English yet. And Arnold was a lot better, even though his brogue was very strong. He grabbed the microphone from the announcer because Franco couldn't answer, and he said, "You make fun of us now," but he said, "One day everybody will be lifting weights. There'll be weights in hospitals. There'll be weights in condominiums. There'll be weights on cruise ships." He said, "There's going to be everybody will be into health and wellness, and you will see people lifting weights in everyday life. They'll have them in their homes." And so, and he gives the guy back the microphone, and the guy goes, "Well, I don't know about that, but we'll see." And I reminded Arnold of that interview, and he couldn't believe that I saw it. And I said, you might want to incorporate this while you're talking to giving Franco his Lifetime Achievement Award. And he did. He changed his whole speech up for that. And I said, "Can you believe you
That's
prophesized
awesome.
something that happened in your lifetime that the entire world lifts
Yeah,
weights?" It's pretty amazing. But as
yeah,
chiropractors, we're in the same ballpark. You know, Chiropractic is coming into play. They would tell our fathers, and we heard it growing up, "You're not real doctors. Oh, you can't give medication." And our dads would say, it's not that we can't put that in our curriculum. We choose not to. There's enough people doing that. We're here to do something different. We are different. We're here to help people
yep,
naturally. We're gonna let the power that made the body heal the body. And when you put stitches on a cut, that's not making the cut heal. The body's still healing it. You're just healing it pretty now. That's what the stitches are doing. And so, and a little bit faster. But as far as it goes, we get to party with the power of the universe. I mean, as chiropractors, and I hope a lot of the new people that are coming in understand the magnitude of these adjustments when we're bringing people that wouldn't even have completed a competition into being the champions. And we can all be champions that way. So, I think I ran off on a spiel there a bit. I got away from the technique, but I'm so passionate about chiropractic, like yourself, and sometimes that happens.
absolutely. So, absolutely. Well, we're going to wrap this up, and I'm going to remind everybody go to chiropractic.org. That's where the ICA's website is. From there, you'll see the science, the sports, the Chiropractic Sports and Science Fitness Council. And there you'll be able to see this video. So I'm glad you're listening. I'm glad you're hearing us. I want you to go to the website and I want you to watch the video. Now, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, the video is going to start as soon as we're done. I'm going to put that on right after this. But if you're just listening in your car or on your working out at the gym, hopefully listening to our podcast, we will have the video available for you. So go check us out somewhere else. And I always finish the same way. Dr. Joe, any final words for us?
Let's get out there and change this world a spine at a time. We all have the ability. We're the chiropractors. We're the trailblazers of of the healthcare profession. And let's not lose our identity. Please, please, please take a look at this technique and go ahead and get certified by all the techniques from these fantastic doctors that are on our board. And that's what I have for you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So on that note, if you'd like to see our group come to your state association, to your conference, and put together our curriculum so you can get your certification, just contact the ICA again, chiropractic.org. You go there, let them know you want us, and they'll get a hold of us. So on that note, I'm going to turn this off. If you like what you're seeing, please like, subscribe, share with others, and we're going to keep coming at you with the latest in chiropractic and sports and fitness science all as much as we can. About every 2 weeks, make sure you keep checking our podcast out. All right, everybody, we're going to sign off for now.
Hi, Pie. Hi, this is Dr. Joseph Amunategui II here with Chiroathletica and the International Chiropractic Association's Council on Fitness and Sports Health Science to bring you some new moves to bring and incorporate into your practice with your athletes. Here I have an athlete who has had lower back problems that's running down the entire length of his left lower limb. So we're going to work on this extremity, and we're going to start in here at the inguinal level first. So what we're going to do is have the knee come up here, and I'm going to put my hand across the inguinal ligament. Now, before I push down, because that's a little bit tender when this move is out, I'm going to raise the table, and I'm going to let the table do the work as I bring the knee from lateral to medial, and then from inferior to superior. And that's all it was. Now the patient doesn't feel anything because I use that instead of going, when I say that, I mean the drop piece. I let that take the pressure off what I have to do. Now at this point, the knee has been luxated out to the lateral portion at the tibia and compared with the long femur. So what I'm going to do is, of course, you can feel that that's painful when I push that way, and this way it doesn't have pain. So what we're going to do now is almost looks like a figure 4, but you could hear the knee clicking right now. It won't do that afterwards. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my arm under here. I'm bringing the foot and planting it so that it doesn't have any pressure. I'm going to put my knee across it, and then I'm going to use my body to bring the tibia back medial from lateral. That was it. Patient doesn't feel anything, but now when I press this way, there's no pain and there's proper motion and alignment. Now, when that's out like that, of course I'm going to take the top of the patella and we're going to go from the medial to lateral with that, because that's the way it's going to luxate with this tibia in the lateral position. So I'm going to cup the top of it, and I'm going to bring my body around, and that's it. Nice and easy. And now the knee doesn't click anymore. So that's what we were going to achieve. So in keeping with the foundation principle now, I'm going to come to the ankle and foot area. So I'm going to remove the shoe, and I'm going to actually rest this heel onto my body so that I can palpate underneath the foot. And of course, we're going to have the triquestrium. It's going to be also going to be inferior when the arch is as large as his is, and these portions of the lower extremity are out. This bone is going to take the beating, and that one in the cuboid. So I'm going to put, if you can come around this way, Doc, I'm going to put my thumb on that actual bone. I'm going to block it in the back with my hand that way, and now I'm going to do a whipping motion like you would with a garden hose that you're trying to make like a flip. So It's going to go like this, and then I'm going to go, and that's it. And the bone went in nice and easy. Now, also, we're going to have with the tibia going laterally, we're going to have the fibula in the distal end go posterior. So I'm going to need to bring that back around too. So what I'm going to do is put over here, if you can come around, Doc, and notice that my positioning on the lower portion is posterior. Then you see that I can go posterior to anterior. And once again, I'm going to take the foot and bring it from its supinated position. And then just a little click like that, and it's going to release all of this area. Now, once I've got the lower extremity together, before I have the patient move, I'm going to take off the other shoe, because who wants to wait for the other shoe to drop? Nobody. So now, we're going to have the patient turn over on your stomach, please. Now, this patient has been working out his entire life. So his body is toned, it's fresh, and it's easy to get the adjustments to come back to place. And just working on that lower extremity, I'll bet that his feet are going to line up beautifully, and we're going to have taken out a lot of the problem with the pelvis just with the inguinal move. Now, when we come up like this, we see it is. He usually has a 1/2 inch deviation, but here we're almost at 1/8 of an inch.
Right.
He's come very, very close to where we want him to be. So the first thing I'm going to do is have him raise this leg, keeping the knee straight. Okay, and now I'm going to have him raise the other one. We're not getting anywhere. So we know the SI joint over here is locked up. I'm going to have him cross this leg over that one, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to do a clockwise move on the 2 SI joints. That's it. Now we bring it back, his foot back over, and we're going to ask him once again, lift that leg. Nice. And now lift the other one. Wow, that's even better than this one. So now I'm going to do another leg check, and we're going to see how we're looking. Wow, that lined up beautifully, didn't it? That's exactly what we're trying to achieve. So, keeping in with the symmetry of what we're trying to do from the foundation up, we'll do an inspection as I'm walking over to see what's going on in this area. If I notice any high spots, if I'm going to be seeing any, what is a high spot? Could that be a muscle bundle? Yes. Could it be a rib out? Yes. Could it be a vertebrae twisted? Yes. How are you going to determine these things is going to be through the palpation. And that's why chiro means hand in Latin, and practica is practice of. That's how we got our name with our profession, as everybody knows. D.D. Palmer got it from the priest downstairs. So he wanted to have a Latin word because he knew all medical stuff, being a anatomy teacher up there in Iowa. He knew everything was based out of Latin. Now on palpation, I'm feeling that we have a rib that's lower on this side. So how many people know that there's joints in the ribs? Every chiropractor. So we're going to block this. We're going to bring this joint out by converging the two portions of the rib, and we're going to use the drop table. And because I have a lumbar and a thoracic, we're going to bring them both into play. I'm going to bring my hand down. I'm following the rib. I'm going to move the patient over so I can get a good grip, and then I'm going to converge them together, and I'm going to put my knee on the drop table to help it that it moves at the same time. Now, here's the move. Feel that little click? Beautiful, right? And look, nice and square. That's just what we were looking for. And now, watch when he goes to take a deep breath. Go ahead. Wow, fantastic. That's an extra 2 inches I'm sure we're bringing into the lower lobe to expand. Now, how's that going to help his performance? This is what we're trying to achieve. We're going to get these athletes back out on the field. We're going to make sure that they're ready to go. This is an adjustment that's not going to take 2 days to recover from. This is an adjustment that he's going to be able to enjoy right away and have optimal experience in his sport. And that's what we're trying to achieve here. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you all have a stellar day. Let's change this world a spine at a time. Have a good one.